Welcome! ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Friday, the 18th of August. Good to have you aboard. Presented, as always, by Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. If you've been involved in any kind of an accident, I send you to our title sponsor. They've been with us, treating me like family since day one, since before day one of ZASLOW Show 2.0. And if you're dealing with a personal injury from any kind of an accident, they're going to give you that exact same treatment. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. We did it, everybody. We did it. We made it to the end of the week. It is Friday. Everybody's going to have a great weekend. I'm excited for you. You get to have some family time. Maybe you got some big plans. Maybe you have date night tonight. I'm trying to negotiate date night tonight with my wife. We know what happens after date night. We'll see if I'm as lucky as you all are going to be after tonight. Or maybe you're doing a little bit of working this weekend. I'm doing a little bit of working this weekend. If you've been listening to the show throughout the week, I love you long time. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mother I say hello. You've heard that I'm doing shows now on ESPN Radio. That I had a couple questions earlier in the week where, excuse me, ZASLOW, what does that mean for ZASLOW Show 2.0? I hope I didn't give off that impression that anything is happening to ZASLOW Show 2.0. If anything, ZASLOW Show 2.0 is going to continue to grow. Me doing shows on ESPN Radio is, part of the idea is that's going to help ZASLOW Show 2.0 grow. And I debut this Saturday, tomorrow, on ESPN Radio, ESPN Primetime, 7 to 10 p.m. I have a co-host. If you notice, ESPN Radio, and this happened a while ago, completely abandoned the idea of solo hosts. Like, the only solo hosts you see now are essentially grandfathered in, like Colin, and you got to be among the greatest of all time to do it. Colin Cowherd, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick. These are the only solo big-time sports talk show hosts out there. Now, it's all 2, sometimes 3-man groups. Man or woman. You understand what I'm saying. I mean, come on, I love the ladies. So, it's always with a co-host. Tomorrow, I'm hosting with a guy, Rob Guerrera. He's based out of San Francisco. I don't know him. It doesn't matter. We're going to have some fun. I think he does a lot of work with the 49ers, so he's super football-based. So we're going to host with Rob tomorrow. This is a good thing, by the way. As I'm talking right now, I don't even know ESPN's clock. I don't know ESPN Radio's clock yet. And it's live radio, which, by the way, now, granted, what was it, about 6 months ago, I hosted an episode. I filled in for the great Dave LaGreca on Busted Open Weekend, SiriusXM Fight Nation, the best pro wrestling show in the world. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that was live radio. Other than that one time doing Busted Open, I have not hosted live radio in almost a year since I left terrestrial radio, since I left WQAM, since I was let go back in the end of September last year, so about 11 months. So I may have some rust on me as far as live radio. I really don't believe that. I'm not going to have any rust on me. But I haven't done any live radio. I don't even know ESPN Radio's clock right now. So it's a good thing. I'm always going to have a partner. Everybody has partners. You're never tuning on ESPN Radio, be it the regular weekday lineup or the weekend lineup, and it's a solo host. Doesn't exist anymore. So I do have a co-host tomorrow, Rob Guerrera. Looking forward to meeting and working with him. And how about this? So that's tomorrow, 7 to 10 p.m., ESPN Radio Primetime. Hosting that tomorrow right here in the ZASLOW Mansion studios, all right? Sunday, ESPN Radio Primetime, 4 to 7 p.m. My co-host, Aaron Goldhammer. How about that, Bryony? Cleveland's very own, Aaron Goldhammer. Old rivals, bitter enemies, maybe becoming friends? I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. Matter of fact, I don't think I've ever spoken to him. So Sunday, and oh man, we used to bust on Goldhammer. We were relentless with Goldhammer from the years of 2011 to 2014 when LeBron was down here. I mean, Goldhammer used to put my name on the streets on his show in Cleveland. All right, so maybe bitter enemies turn into co-workers, maybe to friends. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes down. So hopefully you join me this weekend, this Saturday, 7 p.m. primetime, Sunday, 4 p.m. primetime, ESPN Radio. I'm very much looking forward to getting in the mix there and making my debut doing national sports radio on the worldwide leader, ESPN. So hopefully you all are going to join me there. That'll be a lot of fun. So that's what I got going on for the weekend, all right? Some of us are having fun the whole weekend. Some of us are doing a little bit of work. Some of us are going to mix in both. That's what I got going on. Got a fun show planned today. All right, here's what we got. So, it's Friday. We did it. But that also means there's still a lot of action over the weekend. We are the center of the sports universe. Best sports town, South Florida. We got some big games. So I will tell you if it's a big game or if it's not a big game. So we got that going on this weekend. Okay, very good. We got to give an update on what's going on Terron Armstead. That was the big news yesterday. Also, maybe you're going out doing some family time. Is it a big movie or not a big movie? That's how we roll on Fridays. So, that's what we got going on. All right. First, though, before we get to the important stuff, I'm watching clips yesterday of the Levine show. Shout out to Dan, who I spoke with a few days ago. Everybody knows that he lost his brother, Lebo, Dave Levitard, who was a really good dude, really sweet guy, and it's devastating, obviously, for his family, devastating, obviously, for Dan. I spoke to him a few days ago, and granted, while, and I told him this, granted, I didn't have my brother around for 50 years like Dan did, so it's not exactly the same thing. I was a teenager. Me and my brother were teenagers when I lost my brother. So it's not exactly the same thing at all, but I know about losing a brother, and it's very, very terrible. No one need you don't need me to explain that to you. You can understand. It's funny. The way that I describe it is, you think about what it would be like to lose your sibling, and like it feels terrible, it sounds terrible when you say it in your head, and the reality of it is, the way that it really feels is, multiply that feeling that you have, what you think it would feel like if something so awful happened, multiply that by like 10,000, and that's how it really feels. Anyway, so I spoke to Dan a few days ago, and obviously he's hurting. He's hurting very, very badly. So we love him. And we're sending out good wishes to him, of course. He has not been on his show for the past few weeks. I'm not sure when he's going to return. Maybe the end of the month. I don't know. But I'm watching clips because, look, if Dan's not on it, I'm not. I watch their show. I watch it on the YouTube. I watch it every day. But if Dan's not on, it's not the same. So I'll watch here and there without Dan. But I'm not watching it religiously the way that I always do if Dan's not on it. So, by the way, that's no offense to any, to the guys in the shipping container who are super nice to me, or any of the fill-in hosts. It's just, you got your routine. We talked about this yesterday, right? When I talked about my man Evan Cohen leaving Morning Men. We all have our routine. I got my shows that I listen to / watch, because some of them are televised as well, like the Levitard show, that I watch every day. And when there's a fill-in host, you're thrown out of your routine. Like, this used to happen when Levitard was on 790, and there would be times where I would fill in for Levitard. And oh my God, the audience hated it. Oh, they're mother effing me. Not because they don't like me, because a lot of them listen to my show. I was on, evenings back then. But they're expecting their routine. And their routine is listening to Dan. Even if they like ZASLOW, they're not tuning in to listen to ZASLOW during the Levitard show. They want Dan, and they're not getting him, and so they don't want to hear me. Same thing here. Like, I'm thrown out of my routine if Dan's not on the show, so I'm not watching it right now the way that I was before, or the way that I always do. But anyway, the point is, so there's been a whole hullabaloo lately. Hard Knocks, New York Jets, episode 2. They had a mentalist on. I guess that's a fancy way of saying magician. And he's doing card tricks. And, he does a deal with Aaron Rodgers. They're in the film room in the big auditorium. I guess it's not a film room. They're in the auditorium there. And he does a magic trick that involves Aaron Rodgers. And it's crazy. Like, it ends up with Aaron Rodgers. He's holding a deck of cards in a case in his hand, and then magically the deck of cards is swapped out, and it's a goldfish in the case, and he didn't know about it. Like, it's and to add to it, his teammates sitting next to him had to say, what are you thinking about right now? And he said goldfish, and that is a goldfish, and I don't like it. That's the point. And so it's been a whole to-do. And the team reacts, and they're all going crazy. The Levitard show yesterday, and who was filming it? It was Dominique Foxworth and Amin El Hassan, and you got the whole crew in the shipping container. And they have the Mentalist on the show. Great pull. Good get. And so he's going to do a trick with them via Zoom. And I'll try and explain it the best I can. So, like, essentially, he has Amin take out any piece of cash in his wallet, any kind of bill, any dollar bill. It actually ends up being a $2 bill, which is, who the hell carries a weirdo? Who carries a $2 bill? So it's a $2 bill, and he's supposed to put it down, what have you. Just hold on to it. Don't show it to anybody. And then the Mentalist has Mike Ryan, or first he has Chris Cody say a player's name, a number. Think of a famous player, a player that you like. Think of his number, and he takes that number and he multiplies it by like 3, and then he asks Mike Ryan, give me a birth date, and he takes the birth date and he multiplies that by 4, and then he multiplies that by the previous number, and then so you have some weird 8, 9, 10-digit number on the calculator. And then he asks, now granted, he didn't tell Mike Ryan what birth date to use. He didn't tell Chris Cody what number, what player uniform to use. He certainly didn't tell Amin what, bill to take out of his wallet. And then he has Amin pick up the bill and read the serial number on the bill. And you guessed it. It's the same number on the calculator. What the fuck? Like, that's voodoo. I don't like it. I'm telling you, I hope I explained it well enough. And go onto their social media deal. Go watch the clip. It's like a 5-minute clip from yesterday. Juju Gotti is screaming out Satan. That's voodoo shit. I don't like it. And in general, I don't like magic because of that. I don't like things I can't. I'm a man of science. You look at me and go, that's a man of science. I'm a man of science. I don't like shit that can't be explained. I don't believe in things that aren't proven. And then you got crap like that, and I don't like it. Like that guy, that Mentalist, again, fancy way of saying magician, but he should really be called prisoner. He should be thrown in prison. People it's a danger to society having that guy walk around among all of us doing voodoo. This is voodoo devil shit. There's no other way to explain it. And you saw the Aaron Rodgers clip. All of a sudden, he's got a goldfish in his hand. I don't like it. He should be locked up, that guy. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be in prison. If he's not locked up in a prison, he should be locked up in a cell, and he's monitored by a team of doctors 24 hours a day. Just observing him and making sure that his powers are not released. I don't like it. So I'm the type, I know, they love it, it's so cool. It's not cool to me. I don't like it. I am not into it. I am not the type, I watch that and I don't like it. And then there are other people who watch it and think it's the coolest shit. It's not cool to me. I don't enjoy that shit. I don't like it. Now, I think there's a little bit of a difference. What was it, maybe 4 or 5 years ago? My wife and I took my older son to the Broward Center. We saw David Blaine. Oh my God, unbelievable. I love that David Blaine. I'm telling you now, I hate magic. I love David Blaine. And we went and saw it in person. And there is a difference, though, in watching it on TV or on the social media like I did yesterday, and I really don't like it if I'm watching it in person, I don't know, it's a little bit of a different feel to it because I feel like it's in front of me, not that I feel a part of it, but I don't know, because more believable maybe because I'm there and I'm watching it. Like when we saw David Blaine, he submersed himself in a tank with water. He was in it for 30 minutes. How do you hold your breath for 30 minutes? But I was there. I saw it. And yes, 30 minutes, what happened during the 30 minutes? It was the weirdest experience. All of us in the theater, we're just watching him in water for 30 minutes. A little bit boring. But anyway, we saw it. 30 minutes. He's submersed. If you're watching it on television, that's got to be trick photography. There's a camera angle. Something's going on there. So it's different in person than watching it on TV. When I'm watching it on TV, like watching that yesterday, I don't like it. That's voodoo shit. Stay away from me. All right. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, I got to tell you guys, when there's a storm or something, I don't have to worry about what's going to happen to my home. You know, God forbid there's some damage to your home. How are you going to pay for that? Expensive. Well, I get my homeowner's insurance through Brunt Insurance, bruntinsurance.com, 954-589-2204. I've been getting my insurance coverage on my home through Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance for about 10 years now. Never had any issues, and I go to sleep with the peace of mind that not only am I getting the best coverage out there, but the most affordable rate possible. So, hey, maybe you don't even own your home. Renter's insurance. If you're in a condo, single-family home like myself, I get my homeowner's insurance through Brunt Insurance, and you guys are going to want to get that same type of comprehensive coverage. 954-589-2204. When you're looking for that affordable care, you're making the right call. And not just homeowner's insurance. I get my homeowner's insurance through Brunt Insurance, but if you need automobile, motorcycle, boater's insurance, the team at Brunt Insurance has the expertise and the experience to find the exact right coverage for you. And that's also policies on trailers and motorhomes, all right? And wherever you're calling from in Florida, Brunt Insurance was recently rated top 5 insurance agency in the country, #1 in Florida. They have offices throughout the state. So all the way from Pensacola down to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance delivers that comprehensive insurance that you're looking for. You can find them on social media, bruntinsurance.com, or call today, 954-589-2204. Call them up, see if you, compare your current rate to what they got going on there. Why wouldn't you do that? I always get the best rate possible at Brunt Insurance. 954-589-2204, bruntinsurance.com, proud sponsor on ZASLOW Show 2.0. So yesterday, how about this? And you saw the NBA teams trying to take a page out of the NFL team's playbook where, you know, it's become a thing every year when the NFL schedule release comes out, right? Where teams do the funny videos, and this year, was it the Titans? I think it was the Titans where they did, man on the street. They would show the logos of every team weeks 1 through 18 on the schedule for the Titans, and you had to guess what that team was based just on their logo. Super funny. The answers were crazy. And that's a thing now. We're like, it's a battle between the social medias. Well, the NBA has kind of jumped on that, where you got some, maybe even all of them. I know the Heat did it, but you got the social media pages for the teams that are getting creative with their schedule releases. So the NBA schedule release came out yesterday. I don't pay any attention to it. I pay no attention to it. Now, that's not because, that's not like for 13 years when I was on the Heat's broadcast, it's not like I paid attention then and now I don't have to. This will be my second year away from the broadcast. But I don't pay attention now because you don't know who's going to play. Like I saw NBA on ESPN Twitter account, they released marquee matchups. And on this date, a battle of the MVPs, Jokic versus Embiid. And they only play twice a year, Denver. So that's another thing. It's not like the NFL schedule release where I know you know the teams they're going to play in advance, but you don't know the dates of it. And you only know who they're going to play in advance once the previous season ends, because granted, it's only 17 games. But in the NBA, you always know who you're going to play. You're going to play the teams in your division. The Heat are going to play the Hornets, the Wizards, the Magic, the Hawks 4 times apiece. They're going to play almost every other team in the Eastern Conference 4 times. Some of them will be 3. Like I noticed, the Knicks, unfortunately, are one of the teams they're only facing 3 times. And every team in the Western Conference are going to play twice, home and away. boom, you got 82 games. We know this. But like NBA and ESPN, battle of the MVPs on this date. It's on ESPN. Jokic versus Embiid. You don't know that they're going to play. Jokic will play. You don't know that Embiid's going to play. And then you have all these other matchups, and they show Wizards at Warriors is going to be on ESPN. Jordan Poole, Draymond Green. You don't know that Draymond Green's going to play. You don't know that any of these. And then, like I saw in the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls did a fun video on social media where, they did like an 8-bit Nintendo Game Boy kind of deal. And it's showing the Bulls, and they're playing Wemby, Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs on this day. At best, it's 50-50 that Wembanyama is going to play that game. You know he's going to play half a season max. You have no idea if the Bulls are going to play Wembanyama on that day. Play against Wembanyama on that day, I should be clear. The schedule release comes out yesterday. You don't have a clue if any of these guys are going to play. The NBA player never plays. So, who cares about this schedule release yesterday? At least with the NFL, it's 17 games. You better play. Every game is so important. With the NBA, the players hate playing. They hate playing basketball. So you got these marquee matchups. Fans should run out and buy tickets for that game. You have no idea if that guy's going to play. Chances are he's not going to play. 50-50 at best. Any of these cool matchups actually come to fruition. So, count me as someone who doesn't give a shit about the NBA schedule he's coming out. You only know if that matchup's going to happen. You only know if those guys are going to play maybe 12 hours before the game. Sometimes 90 minutes. So you'll have to excuse me if I'm not going to get jacked up for the Embiid-Jokic game that they're previewing here mid-August with the schedule released. You'll have to excuse me. Let's do a little bit of heat here. So, and when I say let's do a little bit of heat here, I specifically want to do a little bit of an update on Damian Lillard. And when I say an update on Damian Lillard, I don't have any kind of an update on Damian Lillard. First, though, before I get to what I want to say about Damian Lillard, guys, I've been telling you about one of our great sponsors now, Sheets and Giggles, for like 5 months now. Tremendous sponsor, but even better what they're doing for all of us. Sheets and Giggles makes our sleep the greatest possible sleep we can ever have. Sheets and Giggles have naturally softer, cooler, more breathable sheets. And we're talking, look, hypoallergenic, no static, lower surface friction than cotton. So much better for sensitive skin. You're not waking up sweaty because the sheets keep you so cool. They're sustainably made via a lyocell process from the wood of eucalyptus trees that are grown on sustainably managed biodiverse farms. That's right. Sheets and Giggles, they care about the environment just as much as they care about us getting the great sleep. I got the comforter, I got the bed sheets, I got the pillowcase. I sleep on a eucalyptus pillow. That's right. Have you ever slept on a eucalyptus mattress? Go to sheetsgiggles.com. Your family is going to be part of over 100,000 Americans that are sleeping on Sheets and Giggles. The ZASLOW family has had Sheets and Giggles now, like I said, for about 4 or 5 months. We're never turning back. I never have to worry about where am I going to get my sheets from. I go to Sheets and Giggles. Sheetsgiggles.com. You guys, you don't even have to thank me. I just want you to get the good sleep, and that means you're using Sheets and Giggles. Go today, sheetsgiggles.com. So, I've gotten to the point where I don't believe. How about this? All right, you ready for this? You ready? Take a sip of my coffee. Hang on. I've gotten to the point. I do not believe Damian Lillard is on the Heat at the start of the season. That's right. I've gotten to the point, officially, I do not believe Lillard is on the Heat to start the season. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? It could be a good thing, matter of fact, for the Heat. As far as seeding goes to the playoffs, and yes, the Heat, they lost 2 major parts of their regular season, but really a part of their playoff run in Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. But this Heat team especially with Tyler Hero back, and look, you're going to have an angry Tyler Hero. And when I say angry, a Tyler Hero out to prove something. He's going to be awesome. It doesn't matter what seed the Heat were to have in the playoffs. You get to the playoffs, they've shown they can make a run. And I'm not saying that I don't believe the Heat are going to get Damian Lillard. I do. I'm at the point now, I don't believe the Heat are going to get Damian Lillard for training camp. I think the Heat can certainly get him by the trade deadline. And so no matter how you're playing in the regular season, they're good enough to be a playoff team, and then you're adding Damian Lillard for the second half of the year and the playoffs. It really doesn't matter what seed you are. So it could wind up being a good thing. But where it could really be a good thing for the Heat, I'm at the place now, I want to see what Jaime Jaquez looks like in a Heat uniform. I want to see what Nikola Jovic looks like in a Heat uniform. We've seen a little bit of each of them, be it Summer League, be it playing overseas like Jovic right now. I want to see what they look like in a Heat uniform. And one of two things then are going to happen. Worst case scenario. The Heat don't trade for Damian Lillard before the start of the season. Here is worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, Jovic and Jaquez play for the Heat and look like players and guys you want on the team and who could be part of the core of the foundation of this team moving forward. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, same thing happens. Jovic, Jaquez start the season on the team, look like players, and Portland says, you know what? We want them. And now you got Damian Lillard. So we want Lillard right now because it's going to be fun. But as far as big picture-wise, does it make a difference if you get Lillard right now or get him in February? Not much of a difference. So I think it could actually work out to be a good thing for the Heat if they don't have Damian Lillard at the start of training camp. It could only help. It could help because, hey, you see that these two kids, they're players, and we're very happy to have them. Or you see these two kids, they're players, and Portland wants them. Here's Damian Lillard. So I'm officially at the point where I don't believe the Heat are going to get a deal done for Damian Lillard because this Joe Cronin apparently doesn't want to work with them. It's very disappointing. They've probably been lying to Damian Lillard for a while now. That's their problem right now. The Heat don't have to solve that problem. That's your problem when training camp opens, not the Heat's. But the Heat, I think the worst thing that happens is these kids end up being good players and they're helping the team. Best case, Portland then says we want them. Here's Damian Lillard. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think they could end up being players that Portland covets by actually watching them in NBA games. Which also means to start the season, those guys are going to play. Yep. Like there's an MO there from Miami's side. We got to play these guys. A, we think they can help us. B, most importantly, we want Portland to see these are guys that you want on your team. Our offer is pretty good. All right, so before we get to the Dolphins, guys, it is the weekend. You're going to kick back. You're going to relax. And you know, here in the ZASLOW Mansion, you know what our beer of choice is. I'm talking Johnny Cuba, a refreshing German lager in a can. European roots of the Caribbean soul. It's the perfect kind of beer for all of us here in South Florida. I love it when you guys try Johnny Cuba for the first time. Make sure you can pick up a 6-pack Sedanos, Presidente, Winn-Dixie, Fresco y Mas. If you don't have any of those near where you are, you send me a message. My man Juan from Johnny Cuba, he tells me exactly where to tell you you can pick up a Johnny Cuba in your neighborhood. But I love when you guys send me the messages on Instagram of you trying Johnny Cuba for the first time. I then post it on my Instagram page stories because I'm an influencer. You're then famous and everybody just makes so much money. And you're telling me, ZASLOW, Johnny Cuba's so delicious. I'm like, duh, I've been telling you for a while. Go pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba for the weekend. You will not regret it. Remember, always drink responsibly. And of course, Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. Let's get to big game or not a big game. Yes, big game or not a big game. Every Friday, we're going to let you know what you got to be paying attention to over the weekend. And here's what we got for you. Big game or not a big game. Tonight, 8 p.m., Fox, WWE SmackDown. Now, what's going to be the main focus of SmackDown? Because we know that the bloodline has essentially imploded. Jey Uso last week quit. He quit WWE. Now, that's for kayfabe. That's not reality. Kayfabe is part of storyline. That's what kayfabe means. I want to make sure this is an inclusive show. Kayfabe means storyline. Jey Uso left. Jimmy, he says he's still not in the bloodline. And I don't believe that Roman Reigns is scheduled to be on SmackDown tonight. So what's going to be the main focus of SmackDown? I don't know. That's why I got to watch. Tonight, WWE SmackDown, that's a big game. Also tonight, 10 p.m., Bally Sports, Florida. Late night with the fish. Miami Marlins at Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have really picked it up the second part of the season. They are now running away with the National League West after getting off to a bit of a slow start the first part of the season. The Dodgers, 74-46. It is the second best record in all of baseball. The Braves never lose. They have the best record. The Dodgers, running away with the NL West, 74-46. The question is, can they catch Atlanta for the number 1 seed overall? And by the way, the Dodgers have won 11 in a row. Kind of important to point that out. The Marlins, sitting 4 over at 63-59. They are currently in a 3-way tie for the third and final wildcard spot, along with the Cubs and the Reds. Sandy Alcantara on the hill tonight for the Marlins. They just lost 2 out of 3 against the world champion Astros. Can Sandy, who's been very good lately, get them back on track? 10-10 tonight. Marlins at Dodgers. That's a big game. Big game or not a big game? Saturday, 4 p.m., NFL Network. That's right. A little bit of national TV exposure for your Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. Now, they've been practicing against each other these couple days this week. Dolphins have spent pretty much the entire week out in Houston. Are we going to see some more of C.J. Stroud? Are we going to see some more of? Are we going to see a little bit more starters from the Dolphins? I guess it'll depend what happens in practice today. Will we see Tua? It's sounding like we're going to see Tua. Obviously, you got the situation with Terron Armstead, which I'll get to in a moment here. 4 p.m. though, right smack in the middle of the day. Matter of fact, right before I'm taking the air for my debut on ESPN Radio National this weekend. So, Dolphins at Texans. Not a big game. Not a big game. I don't expect very many starters to play, and the ones that do, even if it's Tua, maybe a series. We'll get to that. Not a big game. Finally, got one more here. Saturday, 9 p.m., Apple Plus. Inter Miami at Nashville SC Leagues Cup Final. That's right. Inter Miami has won all 6 games in this. Obviously, they're in the final. They've won all 6 games they played in the tournament. Although the first 2 games are match play, you may not have won those. But they're 6-0 with Messi. They're a goal-scoring juggernaut. Nashville SC, you're next. Inter Miami looking to win their first trophy, and it couldn't come at a better time with Lionel Messi. I would expect this to get some number. Now, I don't know how they compute the numbers because it's Apple Plus, but I'm expecting people to watch this. The final of the tournament, it's Messi. He hasn't lost yet. Inter Miami at Nashville SC Leagues Cup Final. That's a big game. You know it. And that right there is another edition of Big Game or Not a Big Game. Yes. All right. I'm very excited for that league final game tomorrow night. Now, I will be on the air with ESPN Radio for the final hour of that. So I'll have it on here, obviously, in the ZASLOW Mansion studios. I'll have it on the television right there in front of me. But we'll be able to pay full attention for the second half. That's okay. By the time we get to half, it'll be like 2-0 Inter Miami. And then I'll finish my show. You'll finish listening to my show. And we'll all watch the game together. Like one big happy family. So there you have it. All right. So that right there. Big game or not a big game. Let's get to the Dolphins here. So yesterday I'm on the air. It's funny because the Terron Armstead stuff happens like while I'm recording the show. And it looks like a disaster. He's carted off the field. We know how important he is. We know he's going to miss several games throughout the season. That's just what you signed up for at this point in his career. But we'd like it for him not to miss the whole season or to miss like the first half of the season. It looks bad. But then he posts a video. He's walking just fine. He specifically posts a video of his legs while he is walking. Says I'm going to be just fine. No surgery required. They're having an MRI today just to confirm everything. He says I'm going to be just fine. The goal is to be ready out there for week number 1. Tremendous news. Tremendous news. And it's funny because I even said, I'm talking about it possibly being a disaster. But I did give the precursor where, look, you guys are listening to the show yesterday and today, every day. You're listening in the future. And you may be saying to yourself, Zaslow, it's not that bad. We know now. Why are you talking about like it could be a disaster? And then I look really stupid. And I said, I hope I look stupid. And that's exactly the way it ended up going down. You may have been listening last night or in the late afternoon, evening, whatever. And I'm really upset about Terron Armstead. And you guys know, hey, posted a video, Zaslow. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Now, I wouldn't play the main guys very much in the preseason. I don't think it's necessary. I especially don't, maybe Tua plays a series tomorrow. I especially don't think it's necessary on the offensive side of the ball. Dolphins' offense is going to be awesome. Tua's awesome as long as he's playing. It's his second year in this offensive system. I don't see any reason for Tua to play at all in the preseason. You want to play him a smidge? Okay, let's keep our fingers crossed. You want to play some guys on defense because you got a new defense there, Vic Fangio? Makes all the sense in the world. I wouldn't play any of the main guys on offense. Tyreek Hill doesn't need to play. Jalen Waddle, I know, sat out the last couple days of practice. He doesn't need to play. The running backs, they don't need to play. You want to get the offensive linemen out there because they need to get work together? And okay, that makes sense. Tua, I don't think he needs to play. You want to throw Chosen Robinson out there or Robbie Chosen? I don't know what name he's going by, but you want to throw him out there? Okay, that's fine. Braxton Berrios? All right, fine. I wouldn't play any of the main guys on offense at all this preseason. But you want some of the defensive guys to get some run? Okay, that makes sense. But now you have this other issue here. Although I don't really know that it's much of an issue, but my son showed me this morning. Slater scoop, which is not always a good thing. Slater scoop. Andy Slater on social media earlier this morning. And it's a video attached to it. Miami Dolphins' Xavier Howard is being accused of making secret sex videos and then sharing them, a lawsuit shows. Additionally, one woman got into his community this year and smashed his Bentley with a baseball bat. She was later arrested. Okay. And the video is her smashing up his Bentley. Oh, my God. Xavier Howard always seems to be involved in drama involving women. He's always involved in some off-field drama involving women. Now, this, like I said to myself, I go, all right, I don't, now this is clearly a civil lawsuit. This is a civil lawsuit. I don't think there's anything criminal here. It's definitely criminal to record sex with women and then, you post it online and stuff like that. Didn't they have that law? I think it started out in California with those girlfriend revenge sites, stuff like that. That's shitty. Don't do that. Although I feel like this is straight out of that show I like on Hulu, Cruel Summer. This was essentially the plot for Cruel Summer. But if he's making secret sex videos and then he's sharing them with friends, I don't know if it makes him a criminal. It makes him an asshole, for sure. I'm not sure that makes him a criminal. So I don't think this is anything to be worried about as far as NFL goes, missing games and that kind of deal. But Xavier Howard's always involved in so much bullshit with women off the field. But I guess, not looking at it from a morally, it's a douchebag. But from a football perspective, I don't think this is an issue. I don't think there's anything here. So, anyway, Slater scoop, I shouldn't say never a good thing. A lot of times not a good thing, and here it certainly is not a good thing. Last night I'm watching a little preseason football. My wife wasn't feeling well, so I was like, oh, stay upstairs with me, stay upstairs with me. Oh, okay, fine. And so I put on the preseason football for a little bit, Cleveland and Philadelphia. Oh, my God. Kill me. So bad. I feel like preseason, it's now almost, the teams, they just don't care. Meaning, they're not putting the good players out there. They're not putting the ones out there. They're not running any good plays. They're not showing anything. And it's so bad. One preseason thing I do like that's going on right now, I love all the talk about the Jets' offensive line being bad. You got Rodgers talking about it. It's not something I'm willing to get upset about just yet. You got Salos talking about it. And this is one of those deals where the New York media, they're going to continue peppering Aaron Rodgers about this. I love it. It's a big talk on television about the Jets' O-line. You had that clip from Robert Saleh and Hard Knocks talking about, we got an opportunity to rub the stink off of the offense this organization has had for years. Shout out Zach Wilson. And that's easy shit for the media to run with. You know how I feel about the Jets. I think it's crash and burn, baby. I hope that offensive line is terrible. I don't hope Rodgers gets hurt. I want him to play and be bad. And have the offensive line contribute a major part to that. He's already on the decline. How steep that decline is, we're waiting to see. But if the offensive line is shit, whoo! I think the Jets are crash and burn. I love hearing this stuff. Guys, we're about 40 plus minutes into the show today, and it's a Friday. And I know what you're saying to yourself right now. You're going, Zaslow, I got to know. I want to spend some family time this weekend. Is it a big movie? Or is it not a big movie? Big movie or not a big movie? Every Friday, we're helping you out. You know we love movies. You know we love TV shows here. I got a few movies for you. Maybe you got some ideas for some family time, maybe date night. First movie up here. Big movie or not a big movie? This one is called Back on the Strip. This is in theaters today. It is rated R. It is a comedy. It stars Wesley Snipes. I love Wesley Snipes, man. I know you can't say what happened to his career. He went to jail, right? Tax evasion. Love Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes is in it. Tiffany Haddish is in it. Faison Love. JB Smoove. Saw JB Smoove do stand-up at the Improv. Thought he was terrible. Anyway, here's what the movie's about. After losing the woman of his dreams, Merlin moves to Las Vegas to improve his work as a magician, only to get hired as the frontman in a revival of the notorious black male stripper crew, the Chocolate Chips. Led by Luther, now broke and broken, the old, domesticated, out-of-shape Chips put aside former conflicts and reunite to save the hotel they used to perform in while helping Merlin win back his girl. Rotten Tomatoes media score, 29%. There is no audience score yet. Now, I'm not going to see this in the theaters. I'll see it when it's streaming because I think this movie looks funny as hell. This movie sounds funny. I'm going Back on the Strip, big movie. Big movie for Back on the Strip. Not seeing it in theaters, not happening. I'll watch that streaming. That sounds funny. Big movie or not a big movie? You know we love the horror movies. The Zaslow Boys. And when I say Zaslow Boys, I mean me and my older son, Corey. And when I say we love the horror movies, it means he's covering up his face in the theater. And I say, you'll watch this, you sissy, put your hands down. This movie, big movie or not a big movie, is called The Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's rated R. It is in theaters. Last week it came out. It's a horror movie. It's got bloody violence. It stars Corey Hawkins, Liam Cunningham, David Dasmalchian, John Briones. I don't know these people. Here's what it's about. Based on a single chilling chapter from Bram Stoker's classic novel Dracula, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, I don't know if I'm saying that right, tells the terrifying story of the merchant ship Demeter, which was chartered to carry private cargo, 50 unmarked wooden crates, from Carpathia to London. Strange events befall the doomed crew as they attempt to survive the ocean voyage, stalked each night by a merciless presence on board the ship. When the Demeter finally arrives off the shores of England, it is a charred, derelict wreck. There is no trace of the crew. This sounds really good. Rotten Tomatoes media score, 50%. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 74%. I'm going big movie for The Last Voyage of the Demeter. I think that movie sounds cool. I'm into it. Big movie or not a big movie? This movie is called Blue Beetle. It's in theaters today. It's rated PG-13. It's an action movie. This is like the beginning of the reboot of the DC universe. It's got sequences of action. It's got language. It's got some suggestive references. It has violence. It stars Xolo Maridueña, Adriana Barraza, Damian Alcazar, Becky G. Here's what it's about. I don't know anything about Blue Beetle. Recent college grad Jaime Reyes returns home full of aspirations for his future, only to find that home is not quite as he left it. As he searches to find his purpose in the world, fate intervenes when Jaime unexpectedly finds himself in possession of an ancient relic of alien biotechnology, the Scarab. When the Scarab suddenly chooses Jaime to be its symbiotic host, he is bestowed with an incredible suit of armor capable of extraordinary and unpredictable powers, forever changing his destiny as he becomes the superhero Blue Beetle. The Rotten Tomatoes media score, certified fresh 79%. Rotten Tomatoes audience score, 95%. Those are tremendous reviews. You know I'm going to see it. I like the DC movies. I'm bummed that they're rebooting everything, but I'm going to give it a chance. Blue Beetle, that's a big movie. And I got one more for you here. Big movie or not a big movie, this movie is called Strays. It is out in theaters today. It is a comedy rated R. It's got drug use, crude and sexual content, pervasive language. It stars as the voices, because it's all dogs, right? Will Ferrell, Jamie Foxx, Will Forte, Isla Fisher, Randall Park, Josh Gad. Here's what it's about. They say a dog is a man's best friend, but what if the man is a total dirtbag? In that case, it might be time for some sweet revenge doggy style. When Reggie, a naive, relentlessly optimistic border terrier, is abandoned on the mean streets by his lowlife owner, Doug, Reggie is certain that his beloved owner would never leave him on purpose. But once Reggie falls in with a fast-talking, foul-mouthed Boston Terrier named Bug, a stray who loves his freedom and believes that owners are for suckers, Reggie finally realizes he was in a toxic relationship and begins to see Doug for the heartless sleazeball that he is. Determined to seek revenge, Reggie, Bug, and Bug's pals, Maggie, a smart Australian shepherd who has been sidelined by her owner's new puppy, and Hunter, an anxious Great Dane who is stressed out by his work as an emotional support animal, together hatch a plan and embark on an epic adventure to help Reggie find his way home and make Doug pay by biting off the appendage he loves most. His penis. All right. Strays. Rotten Tomatoes. Media score. 56%. No audience score yet, which is never a good sign. But I think the trailers for Stranger look funny as hell. Strays, that's a big movie. We went 4 for 4 today with big movies, and that right there is another edition. A big movie or not a big movie. All right, so you got some options out there. You got some stuff that you can go take the family to, maybe a little date night. If you're looking for a new car, the only place I'm sending you, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. I send you to the only car dealership I personally endorse because they're carrying all the newest Subaru models on the market. That includes the Outback, the Crosstrek, the Forester, the Ascent. If you're looking for a spacious SUV or a sedan that's just for you, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru is sure to have the perfect model for you. Take the summer off with North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Summer's almost over, but make no payments for 90 days when you purchase any North Fort Lauderdale Subaru vehicle in stock. Shop nflsubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road, the building you know and the place to go, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru.